Yeah, I know. From the thumbnail and title, you guys are probably quite confused, and yeah, just take this video with a grain of salt, and I'll explain everything. Don't get too angry yet, don't go to the comments quite yet, maybe watch the video and see what I have to say. I know. Saying scalping is a good thing is a pretty hot take. This is probably one of the most controversial videos I've ever made on the channel. So today, I'm not going to be defending scalping outright. I know there are some very, very negative side effects to it, which I will briefly mention later in the video. But today I wanted to reflect on all the positives of scalping in the LEGO community, especially within the LEGO Star Wars community. And I want to be talking about how it's actually a net positive, at least for the LEGO Star Wars community, especially now in 2025 when LEGO is more familiar with the market and the demand of everything. Like, it is literally a net positive for LEGO Star Wars in 2025. For scalpers to exist versus if they didn't exist. But without further ado, let's actually try to back that claim up and not keep making claims. Let's talk about the evidence and my points I have. So, first of all, scalping high demand sets, it'll increase the sales overall of those sets, which that indicates to LEGO to increase production on that current set, or to create more sets similar to that one in the future. So a prime example of this is the 2020 501st Battle Pack. That was one of the best-selling LEGO Star Wars sets, maybe of all time. Definitely in modern times, it is one of the best-selling sets, and that is clearly indicated by how many clone sets LEGO has made between 2020 and 2025 compared to, say, 2015 to 2020. The amount of sets has increased a lot, and the amount of battle packs, the amount of sets in general that are just clone-oriented have increased a lot. Even 501st sets have increased. There was another 501st Battle Pack. There are more sets with 501st Clone Troopers, ARC Trooper 5s, Captain Rex. So many Clone Trooper sets came from that set selling well. Now, maybe there were small pockets of time where it was hard to find the 501st Battle Pack on shelves in stores, and that could have been a negative for many casual fans. But over time, I found that they were well stocked, at least in the stores near me, online, all of that. And there were actually pretty good sales near the end of its lifetime when it was largely available, like everywhere, and it wasn't that hard to get your hands on, at least not for me. So by that regard, I think that's really, really good. It's a good side effect of scalping because it increases the overall sales of certain high demand LEGO Star Wars sets, and it basically just tells LEGO, okay, this set has a lot of demand. And in one way, it actually creates artificial demand because these scalpers are buying the sets because they know there's already a high demand for them. And when the scalpers buy the sets because they're just wanting to resell or whatever, that actually creates a little bit of an artificial demand. So LEGO will probably overproduce even these high demand types of sets in the future, which I think is a positive because that means we're probably going to see more sales on sets. They're going to be more widely available, easy to come by, things like that. But my second point is scalping stabilizes the LEGO Star Wars market. Now, I've never said the LEGO Star Wars market in a video like this. I don't want to sound like too professional, but basically scalping keeps an overflow of stock available for virtually every set after retirement. Even if the prices are slightly higher than retail, most sets stay near retail for a fair amount of time after retirement, especially if there are sales near the end of its retirement. Then most scalpers will list even below retail prices after the set retires because they bought the set on a good sale. And without scalpers, there would be less competition for resellers on the aftermarket, so prices would likely be much higher. You know, if people weren't buying sets specifically to resell them after they retired, how many sets would be available after retirement? And if there's a smaller amount of sets available after retirement, that means they can jack the prices up because there's less supply to meet the demand. So that is my second point. Basically, scalping stabilizes the entire LEGO community. It keeps a good stock of basically every set nowadays, especially in 2025. It is very rare for a LEGO Star Wars set to have a low stock on the aftermarket, even months after it releases. Not even waiting until it retires. Months after it releases, you can find sets for under retail on Bricklink, eBay, virtually everywhere online on the aftermarket, and that is, I think, because of scalpers. So my third point is basically a defense because I know scalping isn't really a problem when sets are produced well in good amounts. Scalping is normally an issue when there is a very high demand set and it's just hard to come by. There's a generally low stock. What I think a lot of fans point towards scalping being the problem, like in those types of situations, I don't think that's correct. You know, if LEGO doesn't produce enough of a set and scalpers go ahead and buy that set, is that really, a problem for the scalpers or LEGO's production? If a set's production and stock can be ruined by a small minority of the community buying multiple copies, to me, that points to an issue with the set's production by LEGO, not the scalpers buying multiple copies. Basically, my biggest argument for scalping and why the negatives of it don't really outweigh the positives is because if a set is scalped, that is probably not going to have, an overlasting, huge effect on the entire set stock. If your sets are scalped at your current Walmart, at your local Walmart, you're still gonna be able to find it at Target, online, Amazon, wherever other stores are near you. You're gonna be able to find that set somewhere other than Walmart, and Walmart will probably eventually restock that set anyway because it sold well, so they're probably gonna wanna order more from LEGO. And if scalping is ever a, wide issue, if it's ever a huge issue all across the board, every store is out of stock, that is not a scalping problem. That is a LEGO production problem, because how on earth could you let a very small minority, I'd say probably 5% of the LEGO Star Wars community are actual scalpers that every set release, they just buy multiple sets for scalping purposes. How could you let 5% of the community ruin 100% of the production line? I don't think that really makes a lot of sense, and that's why we don't see it happening. That's why I don't think scalping is an issue. It's very rare, especially nowadays, that we see any LEGO Star Wars sets really affected by scalping for longer than a couple months at most. Now, I do want to mention some of the negatives of scalping. I don't want to pretend they don't exist. So basically, my point is, if you are an informed LEGO Star Wars fan, if you are an informed buyer, you know what Bricklink is, eBay is, you're well aware of the aftermarket, all these different stores, sales, you know the retail prices as well as the back of your hand, you're well informed, scalping is not an issue for you whatsoever. It's just not. But scalping can be an issue for your casual fan, for your fan that doesn't quite know about the LEGO aftermarket. Maybe they're just strolling through their local Walmart, they don't see a set that they were looking forward to buying, and then they don't really look elsewhere for it because they're not a huge LEGO Star Wars fan. That is when scalping becomes an issue, when your casual fan maybe can't pick up some sets that they would like to pick up. And that's where I'll admit scalping can be a problem. It's never a widespread problem, but it is an isolated problem, which that isn't bad. That isn't an issue at all if you know about the LEGO aftermarket, where to buy things online, all the different stores, everything like that. But if you're a casual fan and you just don't know any of that, that's going to be a problem for you, because if someone is scalping your local Walmart where you usually get your LEGO sets from time to time and you're just a casual fan, that will definitely affect you. So maybe I missed a few points, maybe I missed a few, negatives or positives for scalping, really. So let me know in the comments down below if you agree with the points I talked about. And basically, my conclusion that I came to is I think scalping is a net positive, at least for the LEGO Star Wars community. But let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with that, and let me know all of your points. Leave a like on today's video if y'all did enjoy. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Have an amazing day. Peace out.